Hello, Luis. Hello, hello. Do you hear me?
Good morning, teacher.
Good morning, Luis. Hope you're having a fantastic day today.
Thank you, teacher.
Hello,
I
Yesenia.
am.
I see that you just
Hi,
joined us. Thank you for coming.
thank you for calling me. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks. Alright, so let me just prepare the presentation that we have for today. And I'm gonna share my screen. 1 second.
I am going to connect to my laptop because I answered on the phone.
Oh, alright. So let us know when you're ready, please.
Yes.
Yesenia.
Okay. Um,
Yes?
le- yes, but I'm just going to see video. Okay.
Alright. Shall we start? Alright. Luis, can you tell me please if you see my screen?
Yes, teacher. I see.
Excellent. So today's topic is gonna be about how to tell a story. As you guys know, a story can be anything. It can be a narration of steps. It can also be a narration of a picture, of a movie, of anything that you encounter in the past, but that you're telling it in the present. So, for the warm up of this presentation, I would like to ask you guys, and well, we're gonna come one by one to answer these questions. What are some of the situations where you need to tell a story? So, Luz, can you please answer this first?
Okay. What are some of the situations where you need to tell a story?
Yes.
Okay. Um, for example, in the in my house, in my daughter or my husband or more generally in my family, but also in the different situation, um, um, as um, the job or or style.
Okay, so you mentioned something quite important, and is when we talk with our family. That was a good one. Now, Yesenia, what are some of the situations where you need to tell a story?
Um, when I'm on the bedtime with my kids,
Mm-hmm.
that I used to tell them stories before bedtime
All right.
or at bedtime before they fall asleep. And sometimes, in order to prevent them to be distracted with the lights and the phones, I invented stories for them.
All right. So far we have when we talk with our family or when we need to make up a story for our kids to fall asleep. Now let's see. some of the real situations where telling a story is important. So we tell a story when we're, give me just 1 second, when we're talking to your friends, when giving your opinion on a book or a movie, talking about an anecdote. An anecdote is a memory that you have and that now that you want to tell us about that. Also, when doing an interview, when we are applying for a job, they mostly ask us for stories, whether it is about our career, what do we do for hobbies, and anything related to that. Also, when we tell a joke, that's also a story. And finally, when we're reporting to officers, what does that mean? Let's say we got in trouble, or we saw something that the police needs to know about. So they're gonna ask us, hey, what happened here? And we need to tell a story. So we have plenty of situations where telling a story is very important. Now we're gonna talk about a little bit of how do we tell a story. For this, I'd like to begin by telling you guys about the structure of a story. So it's composed by 4 steps. We have the beginning, we have the continuation, some kind of interruption. This is also called the climax. You're gonna see later why it's called the climax. And ending. That's how we end our story. So beginning, we have some keywords that will let us know that we're talking about the beginning. Let's see, for example, this one, first. For example, first we were together and let's say we went to eat. So first is gonna let us know that we're at the beginning of a story. We also have yesterday. We can say this month, yesterday, on Monday, this week, the past week. So this is called a time marker, because we can add anything about time that is gonna also let us know that we're talking about the beginning of a story. For example, yesterday at my uncle's house, I did this and I did that. Okay. We can also start by the description of a place. For example, the beach. So we were at the beach, this happened, and that happened, etc. And finally, we can also talk about a situation. So when I was sick, or when I was a kid, when I was 20 years old, we can say anything like that to start a story. Now the continuation. This one is the most important of the steps of a story, because it's something that most people get wrong. And that is due to the fact that they don't use so much of the continuation words. These are called conjunctions, the ones that are in blue. So the continuation basically tells us how to move from one activity to the next one. And that is allowing us to link ideas. So let's say, for example, first we were together. I have another activity here. That is, then Aunt Mary show up. So I'm linking first we were together, Aunt Mary show up, with these two. So Aunt Mary show up, then Aunt Mary showed up. We also have after that, let's say for example, after what we went upstairs. We have also Michael started coughing. Up to that point, this one is very useful too. No one said a single word. Continuation also allows us to add some context to our stories, to link the words. But when we talk about context, for example, when I said then Aunt Mary show up. Here I'm talking about my family. So I'm contextualizing my listener that I was with my uncle and then Aunt Marie show up, that it might be a family reunion. That is continuation. Now we have interruptions. This is basically where the most important activity of the story happens. That's why it's called climax, because it's the most important of them all. And for this we have suddenly, all of the sudden, then, conversely. For that we can say, let's make a short story. Beginning. Yesterday I was at my uncle's house. Continuation. Then Aunt Marie show up. Interruption. Suddenly it was raining. So we can say suddenly this happened and nobody was expecting that. So that's how we use the interruption. We can also say all of a sudden the lights went out. Something like that. Nobody was expecting. Ending. Ending is just basically adding the word finally, so that we let our listeners know that we're coming to an end with our story. So we can say finally, eventually, at the end, in conclusion. So let's continue with that story that I was telling you guys about. Yesterday at my uncle's house, we were at the beach. Then Aunt Marie showed up. All of a sudden, it started raining. And finally, we came back home because we didn't want to get wet. That's a very basic story that follows the beginning, continuation, the interruptions, and the ending. Okay guys, so I need you guys to make this really clear, because we're gonna do some exercises about this. So please let me know if you have questions so far about this.
Okay.
Okay. Yesenia, what about you? Do you have a question about this?
No, I'm clear.
Excellent. So right now, I want you guys to please tell me about an anecdote that you have. Make sure to include words that let us know about the beginning, the continuation, the interruption, and then the ending. Let me just remind you right quick. Beginning, you can say first. Continuation, you can say then, so. Interruption, suddenly, all of the sudden. Then, conversely, and finally, at the ending, you can say finally, eventually, and at the end. So, you guys are gonna tell me an anecdote. You can take 2 minutes to prepare to that, and I'll be right back with you one by one. I'm gonna leave you guys this slide so you guys remember. You guys know what is an anecdote, right? Excellent. So take 2 minutes to prepare, and I'm gonna ask you about that. Okay, you guys ready?
Oh yeah.
Okay, don't worry. Okay, how about you, Luz? Are you ready?
Mm, yes, yes, yes.
Great. So, as you're gonna tell me the story, the anecdote, I'm gonna mark if you did well the beginning, if you did the continuation, you did the interruptions, and the ending. Okay.
Yes.
So,
Uh,
please start.
First, we were together in the airport. Then we shared the office for can enter a the plane. Then my husband cannot travel because the bags were were bigger.
Mhm.
I had the boarding the plane in my daughter without my husband
Mhm.
at San Andres Islas. Finally, he arrived later in the other plane.
Okay, that was very good. I didn't catch. Did you use an interruption?
Okay, interruption is when my husband
Oh.
cannot to travel to boarding the plane because the bus is bigger.
Okay. So you used the husband as an interruption. That was very good. But remember that you have to use the word suddenly or all of the sudden and then and converse. Okay? That was a very good attempt. Now, Yesenia. You
Did we
ready?
have to use did we have to use all those words or
At
shows?
at least one. At least one
Uh,
in the beginning, one for continuation, one for interruption,
And
and one for finally.
do I have to state when where's the beginning, the continuation, or just read the story?
No, you just need to read the story.
Okay. So, my story is when I was a child, one day at preschool, I went to the restroom. I was about 4 or 5 years old, and I was a curious child. I was almost ready to go back to my classroom when I felt something close to the water closet. So I bent to see what was there, and suddenly I noticed a big frog there. I yelled and ran out of the toilet screaming. I remember that animal jumping so high and the lady in charge of cleaning chasing it with a broom. I don't have any other memory about that day, but I suppose finally that lady took that frog out of the classroom and we continue our classes.
That was very good, Yesenia. So I just want to make a summary of what you did. You used very good the continuation words, also the interruption. You let us know that it was the climax of the story, and you said finally to let us know that you were arriving to the end. That was very good. Okay, so when we tell a story, we have a couple of tenses that are very useful to make a good story. One of them is the past simple, and that's when we're listing a set of activities. For example, one goes after the other, and then goes the next one, and then goes the next one. That will be something like, first, I woke up this morning, then I had my breakfast, then I took a shower. That is a set of activities. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can also use the past continuous. When we use markers of time, like for example, yesterday, last week, this month, that is a marker of time. So when we use a marker of time, we should use the past continuous. For example, yesterday I was reading this book, or this week I was doing exercise. That is the past continuous. But we can also use the present simple, and that is because when we use the present simple, it gives us a better sense of representation. It gives us such as a more vivid representation of the story that we're telling. So let me go back to the structure of a story, and I'm gonna give you an example of using the present simple. So first, we were together. That is past simple. Then Anne-Marie showed up. Past simple. All of the sudden, it's that. All of a sudden, let me think about that. All of a sudden, this man comes at me. This man comes at me. So that is present simple. I'm using past simple, but then when I want to tell about my interruption, I said this man comes at me. So I give a better representation of what I was feeling like. I was very surprised. So that's why I use the present simple. And finally, the ending, that you can use whatever you want of the tenses. So we have past simple to list a set of activities, past continuous when using markers of time, and present simple to give a better sense of representation. Using the present simple. Here are a couple of examples. So, I was swimming, having fun, enjoying the water, when this big shark comes at me. Here, uh, let me change to the pointer. So here we have the present simple. When this big shark comes at me, I got scared, but I survived. And then I return to the past simple. Another example. I went to the park, bought an ice cream, rode my bike, when I suddenly hear the engine of a car. He ran over me. Here I have the present simple, when I suddenly hear the engine of a car. That makes sense because I want to give a more vivid representation of that anecdote. So please remember about continuation. That is the most important aspect of a story, how you link the words. We have these words: so, then, until that, after that, also, up to that point, and so on. This is the most important thing that you need to remember. Now, let's fill in the gaps using words of continuation. For this, if you guys want, you can write this down on a paper so that it's easier for you to do that next exercise. Alright? And let me know when you're ready. Okay, you guys wrote that down?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. So, for this first exercise, I need Yesenia's help. I was worried about my husband, comma, he had not contacted me. What can I use here?
Me first?
Yes, Yesenia, please.
I was worried about my husband. Regarding the words we write down before,
Yes.
I was worried about my husband. So that up to that point,
Yes, correct. Up to that point,
he had not contacted me.
so I'm gonna read it. I was worried about my husband. Up to that point, he had not contacted me. We have sentence number 1, sentence number 2, and this special word is helping me link 1 and 2. Okay, so Luz, help me with this second sentence. Mary went to school, she came back home. What can I use here?
After that,
Mary went to school, after that she came back home. Yes, after that, it works. So as you can see, there's not a single answer. Many words can work in this situation. I can also say, Mary went to school, then she came back home. I can also say, Mary went to school, after that she came back home. Okay, Yesenia, help me with number 3.
Oscar didn't return his book, so the library made him a call.
Very good. So here we're given a reason. We have number 1, number 2, and this word is giving us the reason. Number 4. Luz, help me with this one, please.
then.
Angela was abroad. She came back to her country. Let's see if that works. Then
Can you?
Angela was abroad. Then she came back to her country. Yes, that works. Very good. Number 5. Please help me with this, Yesenia.
Oliver turned on the TV. Hmm. Until he heard the news about his city, ¿será?
Oliver turned on the TV until he heard the news about his city. It works, but it doesn't
But
make
sounds.
so much sense. Let me see. Until.
Maybe he heard the news and he turned off the TV. Oliver turned on the TV after he heard the news about his city, or after that.
No, after that it wouldn't work in this case. So until works because, well, Oliver was watching the TV and he heard the news about his city. Until works. Also, then would work. Oliver turned on the TV. Then he heard the news about his city. So then and until these two work. And finally, number 6. Luz, please help me with this one.
Until.
Until. Okay. Let's see if that works. I thought I was wrong about the exam until I read the answers. Perfect. The matches were really well. Very good. Okay. Now we're gonna test ourselves with making up stories. So for this exercise, I'm gonna ask you to narrate the following plots. I'm gonna give you an image like this. It's gonna have 4 or 6 scenes, and based on that, you need to make up a story. Let me give you guys an example. So, I see here a kid is maybe surfing on the internet. Her mom arrives. Here they're talking. The mom is looking for something that they just talk, and the mom comes with a conclusion. So the idea here is to use the words that I just told you about, and the beginning, the interruption, the continuation, and the ending. So that will be first, Michael was surfing on the internet. He called her mom to show him about the picture that he just saw. It resembled the picture of her mom. So her mom was very surprised. Her mom didn't believe Michael. So the mom goes reading on the book if it's true that her picture is over the internet. He then compares the pictures and realizes it's the same picture. Finally, the mom tells Michael about the picture, and she tells it it's exactly the same picture. She cannot believe that it's over the internet. Something like that. I just made up that story, and I want you guys to do the same. So for this, Yesenia, please help me do this scene. You can take 1 minute to think about that, because after I'm gonna show Luz her story.
Okay.
La música más bailable de Ósito, lo de los mexicanos. Oh, sí, pero acá es Salamanca.
Okay, while you think about that, I'm gonna move right back to the story that I have for Luz. So just for so that has a better idea of the story. Luz, this is gonna be your story. You need to give me something related to this. I'm gonna leave it for around 2 minutes. Think about that, and I'm gonna back with the other story that I have for Yesenia.
Uh, feeds feed they are talking about these papers or
No, wait a minute, please. So the idea here is that based on this story, you're gonna create a narration. So take your time, because I need you to tell me a good story about it. It can be really short, but take your time. So you think about that, okay? Okay, I'm gonna go back with Yesenia so that it's easier for you to remember.
¿Qué? ¿Tomaste algo? Ah, ¿cuánto se la tía? Ahora, que no te ahorita, ahorita, todo. Alice, desde la calle. No, tranquilo, ahí me sobra de esa. Ah, no,
Are we going to do like a dialogue?
No, whatever you want. I just need to hear how you are linking this one with this one and this one with the words we just worked about. Okay? It can be a very quick story. You ready?
No, just a moment, because I wrote a dialogue, but now I need to use those words.
Okay, you can say it like a dialogue.
Okay. Give me 30 seconds, please.
Okay.
Este fue traído de aquí. Cinco por... Ese ya está registrado. No, ya así ya adelante. Es fácil.
Okay.
Excellent. I'm listening.
So I made a dialogue following the numbers.
Okay.
So first, number 1, good evening, how can I help you? Number 2, I am so excited. We are here tonight. Please, we want tickets for tonight's movie. And number 4, I am sorry. Last function was at 4 p.m. Oh no, I thought you had a midnight function. And number six, no ma'am. In fact, I am just finishing some paperwork. And I am going to close now. Number eight, I can't believe we lost our opportunity to watch the premiere. And the number nine is, don't worry, we could watch it later on Netflix.
Okay, that was very good. So I'm gonna make up a story based on that. First, we have Juliet and Michael. They're planning to go to the movie center. So they arrive to the ticket store, ask for tickets, but then the man says, "Oh, we're out of tickets. We just sold the next the last ticket." So Juliet is very worried and she feels sorry that she couldn't buy her ticket. Also, Michael arrives to see what he can do about that. And finally, they just regret about that, but Juliet tells Michael, don't worry, we can watch this movie on Netflix. That is the kind of exercise I wanted to do for this story. Okay, now let's go with Luz. Luz.
Moment, please.
Okay.
Él come el ojo con los dientes porque él tiene dientes. Este comelón no tiene azúcar. Este comelón no tiene azúcar. Este tiene azúcar. Todos tienen azúcar. No, no sabe comelón. Ahí parece que fuera comelón, pero si usted no hace así, él saca la azúcar, porque si usted no saca, él manda dientes. El otro sí tiene dientes como si fuera azúcar. El otro es no, no es ¿sabe qué hay acá? ¿Sabe qué hay acá? Pero raro, es uno por taza general, una vizcaína. No sé qué es la vizcaína. Aquí hay vizcaína. Aquí hay vizcaína. Es que es muy raro porque viene uno por taza. Es un raro con la vizcaína. Sí, es delicioso también, pero no, como no le digo, porque ya no mata los parásitos como antes, y ya no tiene el comedor quedó fue como con ese mito, con ese mito de que come muerto. Una casa ahí que todo está más rico para hacerlo, ¿cómo lo hago? Yo lo meto en el arroz, no. No, yo lo aplico y después lo subo. ¿Sabes cómo lo hago? Cuando la fruta está de tapar, yo meto lo que hay vizcaína, pero es muy rara, o sea, hay una vizcaína. Todos los domingos. De verdad no una.
Okay, you ready, Luz?
I am not ready.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna give you just 2 minutes because we're about to finish this session. Just remember about using first, then, suddenly, and finally. Yes.
Uh, um, First, Vidal were given some instruction son for that he's going to the neighborhood if they divorce with some later. So the father is worried, but really the son going to the boss and finally he's going to house.
And finally, what? I'm sorry.
Finally, he he's going to the house.
Oh,
The the, the son.
okay, that was very good. So thank you for that. Let's make a quick summary. So to make a story, it's very important to have a beginning. We have some special words about that. The first, and we have the continuation with can use then up to that point.
Hace rato le digo,
For
sí,
interruptions, this is the climax.
empiezo a montarme la
And we can
pesquerita
use
allí.
suddenly. And for the ending, Luis, what word can I use for the ending? Or Yesenia?
What words? What?
What word can I use so that I can tell you about the ending of a story?
Finally? At
Finally.
the end?
At the end.
After all?
At the end. I'm sorry, I wrote that. What was the last one? After all?
After all?
After all. Okay, guys. So that was the lesson for today. I appreciate very much your participation today, and I hope you have a nice day.
Thank you, tutor. Thank you for your time and your help.
No problem,
Thank-
Yesenia. Okay, Luis. Have a nice day. Goodbye.
Goodbye, you too. Thank you.